So Venus just moved into Pisces. This is a time to start paying attention to what you're receiving spiritually. Venus retrograde is on the horizon, everybody. It starts March 2nd, so there's still time, okay? We're not there yet. We still got a couple months to get through. And also, at the same time, Venus retrograde is very much associated with the way that we are not receiving what we are worth. Venus retrograde is sometimes very harsh because of that. It's also associated with drought and not being able to receive what you're in need of. So those retrogrades of Venus, they ask that we kind of reorder, restructure, rethink, rework some things. And that way we're able to receive what we are asking for ourselves in our worth. Now, by the time that this upcoming Venus retrograde does start, both Jupiter and Mars are going to be direct. So the masculine energy is going to be more supportive. And supportive is kind of like a vague or a general term for that. The masculine energy is going to be able to get up and do what needs to be done while Venus is retrograding so that the feminine can kind of sit and understand and work through some things as you're in need of it, that's true. But the reason I say now's the time to start paying attention to what you're receiving, spiritually speaking, Venus in Pisces is spiritual receiving and giving through the veils, through practices, symbols, all the stuff that has to do with Pisces energy, spiritual disciplines, because Saturn is also there right now. So being disciplined in our practices, spiritually speaking, start really paying attention, because when this retrograde of Venus happens, it's going to go back into the spirit. So we're going to be asked in a couple of months, well, like 3 months, it's like 3 months that it'll be in Pisces itself. We're going to be asked to sit and rediscover our spiritual worth. Our spiritual worth. We're going to be asked to sit and rediscover our feminine worth of spirit. 2025 has some harsher transits. We're going to get into that in another video. This Venus retrograde, though, it's one of them. Super duper. Not a party pooper, okay? Not a party pooper. Super duper. Because what happens in Venus retrogrades is sometimes there's like icky yucky stuff that can occur. That icky yucky stuff comes through to show you that you were accepting things that you weren't worth in the first place. Oh, I received that? Didn't even realize it was in my energy. Didn't even realize it was on my radar. Let me go and do some work to get that out, and I'm worth more now. For sure now. Sometimes settle a score now, all right? Listen, I would not want to be the one to come after a feminine energy during a Venus retrograde. Take care of those feminine out there, okay? Take care of the women, the womb bodies, the mothers. Take care of the ladies during the Venus retrogrades. Because, listen, I'll say this, discern for yourself how you need to interpret this. There's a lot of different ways you could interpret it. You do wrong to a feminine energy or someone who's sitting in that Venus archetype during a Venus retrograde, you've officially, and this one's going to be in Pisces and Aries coming up. If you are a person who would do that, or there is something, no, I'm going to speak to if you're a person who would do that, that's true. If you're a person who would do that, come after the feminine during a Venus retrograde, you've just signed yourself up for another entire year and a half of belittlement and betrayal. And more than likely, it's going to take you more than another cycle up until that next Venus retrograde a year and a half later to really work through it. And this Venus retrograde is going to have Saturn in Pisces, where Venus is going to be in its retrograde. The upcoming Venus retrograde is not a retrograde where you want to fuck around and find out, okay? This is not a Venus retrograde where you want to play with the mothers the wrong way, where you want to play with the feminine in the wrong way. Because people who will walk against the feminine and the mothers in a way that is like not of honor and doesn't uphold the highest spirit, doesn't uphold the spirits in love and elevation, there's some things about to come crumbling down, okay? So sometimes it requires that the feminine mother, women, womb bodies rise up a little bit. Sometimes we gotta realize we haven't risen. And also, I wouldn't want to be the one. Wouldn't want to be the one with everything else going on. Listen, I'm going to make another video about the 2025 stuff, but for now, okay? So start paying attention to what you're receiving spiritually. Messages, dreams, order, structure, stuff that you've been working in since March of 2023 with Saturn and Pisces. If that is something that is applicable for you, could be, could not be, depends on the work that you're doing. Probably will be in some regard, just depends on how much. And make sure you make your offerings, because Venus retrogrades, sure, they're a time of reconsideration. Sure, they're a time of, the feminine rising in the sense of like, I'm worth more now. But also retrogrades, generally speaking, are a time of harvest. So while Venus retrogrades can sometimes be a little bit harsh, Pisces, okay, is the sign of sacrifice. You're making sacrifices, you're making offerings in the spirit. How detailed have you been about it? Saturn in Pisces right now, okay? Neptune also in Pisces. How frequently have you been going? What has been going on? What's the work been? Venus retrograde says, okay, bring it in then. 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 Yes, bring it in then. So if you've really been doing the work, bring it in. Bring it in. Thank you. So grateful for it. So grateful for you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes. Also, like I said, though, would not want to be the one to wouldn't want to be the one to try something against the feminine during this upcoming Venus retrograde. So just clock it how you need to, walk it how you need to, lock it and put it in your pocket if you need to. We got a new wave of feminine coming through. And now that Venus is in Pisces, pay attention. Pay attention, because the offerings you're making from now until Venus retrogrades are going to have like a large retention. So keep up your brew. With that being said, gratitude, reverence, and love to you. Do what your witchy self would need to do. Or as a practitioner, however you pronounce what you are. That's true. Because a name is a sacred thing, Valid. And I'll talk to you soon.